Welcome into another episode of RipNRiff here on the RipNRiff YouTube, Twitter /X/Facebook page network. He is Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Always great to be here ripping packs of cards with you. Great time of the year, Jared. We got a lot going on. Spring training, March Madness, hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs, all good stuff.
Yeah, it is good stuff, and the weather's getting nicer, even though it's a little chillier here in New York the last couple days. But yeah, it's just generally speaking a pretty good time of year.
And we're going to try and cover all three of those things here today with the packs we're going to be ripping. So stay tuned for that. And of course, as always, you know, if it always helps, rate, review, subscribe on all those platforms you see scrolling on the bottom there. Help us out. Give us a follow. Give us a like. You know, we do this for fun, but it's always fun to interact and join in and show us what you're ripping as well if you're ripping along with us. So, you know, we're going to debut a new segment today. You know, this is kind of like, you know, so shout out Justin Fensterman, a.k.a. Fensty Sports, because he was watching the old Survivor Series episode we did with Dave LaGreca of Busted Open. And he would send me a random text that was just like, LOL, he called it Rip and Rant. That's great. And here we are. I think we're going to try a new segment out here. So are you ready?
Sure. Let's go.
Let's go. It's time to kick things off on Rip and Riff with
my Rip and Rant.
Thanks, Dave. All right, so we had one plan coming in for the day, and then we audibled close to showtime, and I actually like the one you audible to better. So why don't you lead us there?
Yeah, because I had wanted to rant about the NCAA tournament and filling out brackets and why I generally don't do it. And then because Major League Baseball does such a poor job promoting their sport, the season started today. Did you happen to know that?
You know, I kind of know that because I'm in a fantasy baseball league, and I had to remember my commissioner sent out a reminder about the season starting. But if it wasn't for that, I would have had no clue.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, nobody would have had any clue. And I mean, it's just classic Major League Baseball not being able to get out of baseball's way, where you have the biggest star in the sport, in Shohei Ohtani, in his Dodgers debut with one of the preeminent franchises in the sport, and the game is on at 5 a.m. locally because it's in South Korea, so nobody's going to watch it. And if you happen to live in the local market of those two teams, the Dodgers and the Padres, the game's on even earlier. It's at 2 a.m. So it's just it's classic baseball. It has no idea how to, like, I know the whole reason they're doing all these international games and whatnot is to, you know, quote unquote, grow the sport. But, you know, it's the first game of the season. If you're a baseball fan, you want to see Ohtani as many times as you can, and especially his debut with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And like nobody saw it. You know, nobody cares. You have to look at the box score afterwards because you're like, oh yeah, that thing was today.
Yeah, and you know, I get it. Like, I'm all about growing the game, and like, yeah, you want to do something like that at the beginning of the season because the baseball travel schedule is just so condensed. It would be really tough to go over there with the time adjustment and then come back and not have, you know, the season be extended by a week or so for those teams. But yeah, like I'm in the West Coast. There's zero chance I'm watching a baseball. I love hockey, and unless it's like a gold medal U.S. versus whoever game, like I am not watching any sporting event at 2 a.m. Sorry, just like, and it's like to have your season open that way, and like you said, the biggest star going to one of your biggest teams, and like, you know, to me the season will start, you know, when on opening day. That's opening day to me. That's the beginning of the regular season.
Right, next Thursday, which, by the way, a Thursday opening day always feels weird. It should be on a Monday. It really should always be that first Monday in April, but it's just the way the calendar fell this year. But yeah, like you have a hard enough time getting me to watch Shohei Ohtani when the game's on at 10 p.m. Eastern, when they're playing 7 p.m. local out there. And like, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of Dodgers games on TV this year just because of who they are, who Ohtani is. I'm sure MLB Network will carry a bunch of them. I'm sure ESPN will carry a ton of them throughout the year. But yeah, it's just classic baseball, man. You know, they wonder why you know, today's youth doesn't give a crap about baseball, and you they're falling behind, especially in the States, behind basketball and soccer in terms of popularity. Never mind the NFL, which just dwarfs everything. So,
I mean, to me, if
I
you're
just
going to
wanted
try
to
and
get
rig
that
the
off.
schedule, you'd want them to open up on the East Coast, right? So that way you can maximize the viewing audience.
You would think. I mean, yeah, ideally you would open the Dodgers on the road on the East Coast against
The Mets.
any East Coast team, the Braves, the Phillies, the Dodgers, not the Dodgers, the Braves, whoever. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. I saw that today, and then that just really irritated me.
No,
Even more so than not filling out brackets because Mike Babchick rigs the office pool.
Yeah, he likes to deny that, but he does. And that's the thing. Like, yeah, we were gonna I don't really pay attention to college hoops anymore. Like, I'm wearing a St. John's shirt, and I know, according to Eric Fenton, Indiana State and St. John's got snubbed, and that's good enough for me. But yeah, it's when I fill out a bracket, it's just like, okay, whoever. Like, it's just and so it's not what it used to be for us. And you used to work at Sirius XM like I do. And the first day of the tournament, that Thursday, they were our pizzas, and it was like one of the best days of the year. It was great.
It's one of the having dog and like I know you can relate to this because you were there. Having dog hang out in the office all day, just like getting excited about the games, and then you find out afterwards it's because he had like $7,500 on one of the games.
It's like he's really rooting hard for Wright State right now.
Yeah, it's just one of the best times of the year.
It is. So, like, I'll fill out my requisite bracket, and who knows, because it's Sports Star on during the day. So, like, of course I'm gonna watch. Like, it's something to put on the TV live. But yeah, baseball really dropping the ball there with that. And we'll do a little rip and rant to start every show before we get ripping to pack ripping. Now we gotta give you a little pack ripping rundown today and hits we're hoping for. So I'm going to be opening up so speaking of college basketball, some 2021 Chronicles draft picks there. And also Stanley Cup Playoffs right around the corner, getting very excited for that. One of us has a team that'll likely be in the playoffs. One does not. Some 2022 hockey extended series there. Like I tweeted before the show at Pucking Thoughts, there's a Matty Beniers Young Guns that we're really looking for there. So.
Yeah, kind of a down year for Beniers this year, especially compared to last year when he was. I don't remember if he won the Calder, but he was certainly in the race the entire year. He might have won the Calder now that I think about it. But
thank you.
But yeah, he's going to be a future 1C for the Kraken for a long time. But yeah, those are some very exciting cards to look forward to. And I'm going to be doing since I'm on this baseball kick and I have a ton of baseball packs. A couple packs is Topps 1989. Major League Baseball cards. This is what you think of when you think of baseball cards, especially Absolutely. This era, 1987 to like 1989, and you get the rock hard stick of bubblegum that's in there, 15 cards in the pack. I will not be tasting the bubblegum. I am not our former boss Matt Deutsch, so I will not be doing that. But if you happen to pick up an old pack of baseball cards like this and you decide you want to do that, be my guest. It's not my place to
judgments. No judgments. Yeah. It's not like the flavor is going to last long anyway. It's going to last, 30 to 40 seconds max? And then it's like you're just chewing old rubber.
Yeah, probably that long. So you want me to go first? You want me to dive right into it?
Yeah, let's do go right into it. Let's do baseball here. We spent the beginning of the show talking about it. Let's go into some 1989 Topps baseball here.
Nice. And by the way, I love these old wax packs just because they're so easy to open as opposed to the other ones. It just folds over. Here's the old stick of gum if you want to take a look at that. But let me throw this pack itself in the garbage, and we'll get right into the cards. And it's just a classic look here. You got Larry Owen from the Kansas City Royals. I don't know anything about Larry Owen other than he's got the Michael Strahan gap tooth thing going on there. So hopefully the Major League Baseball dental program took care of him in his post-playing days.
Lisa needs braces.
Dental plan. Here's a player who comes up every July 1st because of the contract that he infamously signed with the Mets. Bobby Bonilla here, picture with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I mean, talk about keeping your name in the papers forever. Every year He comes up. He trends every year. That whatever day, I forget what day it is, Bobby Bonilla Day, but
It's
yeah,
July 1st.
July 1st. There you go.
Every July 1st, he gets paid like just over $1 million. Because
I would think he would be expected to have a nice 4th of July party, knowing that you're getting paid a nice big paycheck every July 1st. Like I would think, like, somebody be like, hey, can you put on a nice barbecue at least?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Bobby Bonilla, one of the all-time great businessmen. The fact that they turned that contract into something that just pays him a cool $1 million every annually, like every year, and it's going to be doing it for another decade or so until it finally runs out. So shout out to him. Shout out to Hall of Famer here, Lee Smith. Here a picture with the Boston Red Sox.
There we go.
And what looks to be a very chilly day there at Fenway Park.
So Lee Smith, to me, like, okay, Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer of all time, and then Hoffman was kind of hanging around there. Lee Smith is, like, to me, like, right in that tier below them.
Yep. So we got Jim Traber from the Baltimore Orioles. Nice little mustache going on there. I think this might be a rookie card. No, not quite. He kind of bounced around between the Orioles and I guess AAA Rochester at the time.
And I think the rookie cards from that era have the little, like, yellow trophy thing on the bottom too, like the little icon.
Here's a player who might still be playing just because this guy played forever. Jamie Moyer here with the Chicago Cubs.
Let's see. Let me look up what year he finally retired. I mean, he did.
I want to say like 2010 he retired, but yeah, his rookie year was 1987.
So 2010 he retired, and then he came back for a cup of coffee with the the Rockies in 2012.
Yeah,
so he took 2011 off, and then like 5 games he pitched in.
Yeah, so just a great career, just in terms of the longevity and for how long he was an effective major league starter. He's he's one of those guys. When I had the Friday Night Yankee ticket plan, you would see him every so often coming in as a visitor. And I remember one game in particular where he was with the Mariners, and I think the Mariners scored 5 in the top of the first, and then the Yankees scored 5 in the bottom of the first.
Oh, wow.
So it was one of those games. And I'm pretty sure he started that game, but don't hold me to that. From the San Francisco Giants, Joel Youngblood.
Go. The old Candlestick Park there.
Bill Schrader from the Milwaukee Brewers. Gotta love that old Brewers look.
The old pinstripe look, the V-neck.
Yep. The spring training Topps Company store card. I guess you can get a nice little baseball sweatshirt if supplies are still available, which I guess probably not.
I mean, I would wear that, but I can't wear that kind of sweatshirt. I get too hot in them.
Yeah. Let's see. Nice little insert here. A 1988 record breaker card with Doug Jones getting his 15th consecutive save, which at the time was a major league record.
Great beard too, Doug Jones. Facial hair, mustache, typical of the 80s there.
Yep. Let's see. Luis Rivera from the Montreal Expos.
Love
this
those.
This is how the old when you used to do sign up for Little League, and they would get like you would get your baseball card made. That's exactly how this card looks.
Absolutely, just standing there. Yeah, that absolutely is a Little League card.
When you played Little League, well, what major league team did they give you?
So I played Little League for 3 years before I went to a different sport. So I was on the Orioles and the Yankees. So it was 2 years the Orioles, 1 year the Yankees.
Nice. I was on. I only did the 1 year. I think I was on the Pirates. Lee Mazzilli with the New York Mets.
Also good. What was he? A third base coach with the Yankees for a while. First base, one of those two.
Yeah.
Like.
Let's see. Another insert card here of Pirates leaders. So if you're interested in who the 1988 team leaders are in particular categories, here you go. It's a lot of Andy Van Slyke on the back of this card.
The last time the Pittsburgh Pirates were a consistently good team was that 80s, 90s, end of 80s, early 90s. I know they had a couple of flashes since then, but.
Yep. Actually, this card references it. One of the few men in Major League Baseball to throw a perfect game, Tom Browning from the Cincinnati Reds. Right. And on the back of the card, it mentions, I got to show the back of one of these cards just so you can kind of see it. It mentions only 8 balls were hit out of the infield as Tom pitched a perfect game in defeating the LA Dodgers 1-0.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, that's I I know a perfect game's a perfect game, but a 1-0 perfect game where you literally have to be perfect or you're not going to win that day is, that's pretty baller, man. I love it. Tom Pagnozzi from the St. Louis Cardinals. Looks like he's here getting his warm-up swings in. Number 1 draft pick of the Cleveland Indians, Mark Lewis.
There we go. Didn't really amount to much, but.
And last but not least from this pack, from the New York Mets, Sid Fernandez.
Sid Fernandez, I remember him pitching. I definitely seen him pitch at Shea Stadium at some point as a kid.
Yeah, I feel like I probably saw him at Shea at one point or another too. So, yeah, pretty good pack there. Definitely a lot of the let's remember some guys, and always like that. So we'll breeze through this other pack really quickly, and then we can get into the NBA and the NHL stuff that you got going on over there. So, I literally just mentioned this player. So, from your Pittsburgh Pirates, Andy Van Slyke, really good player back in this day.
He was a very good outfielder. I mean, who knows, steroids maybe now in hindsight, but I mean, there was a couple of years there where he was an all-star outfielder.
All I'll say about steroids is that baseball was never more fun and interesting when steroids were prevalent. Here's a player who probably wasn't on steroids, but he was just awesome in this heyday. Darryl Strawberry with the New York Mets. Classic card there. Classic look. Mid-swing, probably about to crush a ball 400 feet.
Yeah, back in that era, he was great to watch. I mean, I know he had his issues and stuff, but back in that late 80s Mets team, he was the guy.
And all-time great Simpsons cameo as well.
Yes.
Which is really all that matters. Jeff Reed from your Cincinnati Reds. Let's see. Jim Pankovitz from the Houston Astros. Nice little mustache there.
Of those Astros uniforms.
Terry Taylor from the Seattle Mariners. I love that old school Mariners look.
Yeah, the yellow S with the blue.
Mm-hmm. Jack McDowell from the Chicago White Sox.
Blackjack before he flipped off the crowd at Yankee Stadium, 95.
Yep. Hall of Famer here, Mike Schmidt from the Philadelphia Phillies.
Nice.
Greg Swindell from the Cleveland Indians. I like this picture in particular because it literally looks like something out of the movie Major League.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Another thing for the sweatshirt for the company store that we can ignore. Scott Lizader from the Detroit Tigers. And, man, look at those Coke bottle glasses right there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like those almost look like those goggles that Chris Sabo used to wear. It's approaching that territory.
Yeah, you can't really see it all that well, but trust me, like those things, those are thick, man. A member of the World Championship New York Yankees in 1998, Chili Davis in 1988.
Also, one of the great names in baseball history, Chili Davis.
Chili Davis, such a cool name, and he's a really good hitter for his era.
Yeah, it was like a quintessential DH of that time.
Yep, an all-star DH card from the New York Yankees, Dave Winfield. Nice little insert card here.
Another fantastic player there. Same era as Mike Schmidt, he dominated.
And on the back, it has the home run leaders from the American League that year. So, it's a who's who of the guys you would expect. Jose Canseco, Fred McGriff, Mark McGwire, Gary Gaetti, Eddie Murray, Joe Carter, Jack Clark, Corey Snyder, Danny Tartabull, and then all the way down with 25 home runs, tied with Kent Herbeck, Bo Jackson, Fred Lynn. You have Dave Winfield.
There you go. Good company.
Yeah, pretty good company indeed. Larry Parrish from your Boston Red Sox. We'll breeze through the last of these real quick. Darryl Miller from the California Angels at the time.
California. I wish the old A Halo logo. That's the pre-California Angels in the outfield logo.
Another all-star insert card, Mike Greenwell, here with the Boston Red Sox.
Definitely one of the better Red Sox of that era.
And it has your triples leaders. So shout out to Harold Reynolds. He led the AL in triples that year.
And that doesn't surprise me. I mean, that guy can move on the base paths.
And last but not least, an interesting rookie card we got here. Brady Anderson from the Baltimore Orioles.
Here we go. Speaking of, to bring a full circle, when I mentioned steroids, and I believe he had a 50 home run season and then never again. It came close to that.
Look, I don't want to just blanket accuse the guy of using performance enhancing drugs, but I mean, obviously, like that 1 year for Brady Anderson was very much an outlier. And I know he's never been quote unquote linked to it, but
what were you just seeing the ball really well for 1 year? Like your vision?
maybe.
peaked?
I mean, maybe it was. You remember a couple years ago in baseball where it seemed like everybody was hitting like 500-foot home runs, and it turned out like the baseball was juiced. And classic baseball, they decided to tweak the baseballs, don't tell anybody, and all that sort of stuff. And like DJ LeMahieu was just hitting piss missiles like left and right and everywhere. And then the Yankees give him a 6-year extension, and he's never healthy, and that's a whole other thing. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Brady Anderson year was also a year like that, to bring this full circle.
I'd have to look that up, but yeah, I with him it's very suspicious because it's not like he had 50 and then like maybe 35 or 30. It's like 50 and then like low 20 or something like that. But okay, again, don't want to blanket accuse a guy, but it is you look at that with a little bit of a focused eye. So those are some good baseball cards there, man.
Those are some good cards. We didn't get any of the rookies that you were specifying. Who was it? Smoltz and like Randy Johnson, somebody else. I was kind of hoping we get one of those guys, but Gary Sheffield, another one because he didn't get in the Hall of Fame, but we got Brady Anderson, so it's almost as good. And honestly, for 35-year-old baseball cards, these are in fantastic shape. Like the corners are perfect. The card doesn't have like a real curve to it, like some of the more modern cards that we get now. Like these are in perfect condition. Like if I were to go get this graded, it'd probably be a 10. That's
a testament to just proper storage and not leaving them somewhere too humid, too dry. That's important with the cards you collect too.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna get this one graded. It's just Brady Anderson, but
it's still the point taken. It's like you would consider it just based on the condition of the card for a 30-plus-year-old card or almost 30.
Yep. So pretty good packs there. I'm overall very pleased with that. I'll put that.
I think it's time to do a little college draft picks hoops here. We'll see if we get any.
Sure.
Good rip right there. That was a good one.
Yeah, right I like the sound there.
All right. So what's cool about these is like there's some throwback looks in here, like the old Skybox, the old NBA. So let's see here. We got a Jaden Springer Tennessee card there. Okay.
No, nothing about him. Rick Barnes is still the coach of Tennessee, right? Or Texas? I don't even know.
What they did here, what I like, is they got the old like Skybox NBA hoops kind of look there, but they went retro, but they give it a glossy finish. Let's see here. We got from Arizona State, Josh Christopher, rookie card there. Let's see if we get somebody. Okay. So we got. We'll show you this Matthew Hurt Duke card, but one of the guys on the cover of the pack, always happy to get him, Mr. Cade Cunningham, the Oklahoma State Cowboys uniform there.
Here we go. One of the nice. Bright young stars in the NBA.
Yeah, hopefully I can be part of the Pistons rebuild there. And then we got Jalen Suggs, another good pull there, back in his Gonzaga jersey.
Team that never freaking wins the tournament.
No, they're one of those, but they don't get up there. Okay, so now we got a Jonathan Kuminga Chronicles here. Kind of a plain card there. Apparently they couldn't use the school because you could see it's whited out there.
Big part of the Warriors now. So there's that.
There you go. Let's see here. We got a Scotty Barnes, excuse me, Florida State there. Scooty Barnes. Do you remember when College Mailing used to be Scooter McBooty?
I was not aware of the McBooty part. I obviously knew Scooter, but no, you have to explain that part to me.
I don't remember so we got a couple of Jonathan Kuminga cards. I don't remember. It was back when he worked on Maxim Radio and he was the board op for the afternoon show. That was his on-air name for that. So let's see.
And now he runs Mad Dog Radio. So shout out to Colin. We love Colin.
Shout out to him. Used to love sharing an office with him. Very big Islanders fan. We got a little Jared Butler from Baylor there. Let's see what else here. We got another Jonathan Kuminga. This is part of the Playbook series. Cool looking card there. There it focuses. Let's see here. Another Jonathan Kuminga. Damn, this pack's loaded. This is a base one right there. And then
this is the Jonathan Kuminga pack. This is awesome.
No kidding.
I mean, like if you're immediate family or friends, if you're me, it doesn't really do a whole lot for you.
No. I mean, I'm in the Bay Area, so maybe I'll send them to the Warriors. Maybe he'll sign them and send them back. Who knows? Let's see.
I'm sure they'll get right to that.
Top of the list. We got Isaiah Jackson. We got let's see that we got another Jaden Springer, Herbert Jones, and then this card is actually cool. This is an Evan Mobley rookie. This is a really nice looking card here.
Oh yeah, that's a sharp card. I like that one. What's the 4 for? That's just his number.
Yeah, it's just his number. So I mean, that's like a little weird that they would make the number that big, but nonetheless, still, listen. Jared and I are not college basketball people. We're not even really big NBA people. We figured it is March Madness week. Let's open up a pack of these and talk a little. At least acknowledge college hoops a little bit there, and some cool looking jerseys, especially that Evan Mobley in the USC look. I mean, that's a pretty card.
And a few things are better than the first 2 days of the tournament, and obviously that's tomorrow. And I'm just looking forward to ordering some food and just vegging out during the day and probably get high as shit and just watch a shit ton of college basketball. That'd be awesome.
I mean, that's how I think most of us would prefer to watch the first couple of days of the tournament there. For me, it starts in the morning, so maybe a little bit more of a breakfast food to start. Maybe like a breakfast burrito would be a good idea for me. But nonetheless, I would love to take part in that tomorrow. We'll see what happens, or Friday for that matter. Now, are we? Is it time to go to hockey here as we approach the playoffs?
Absolutely. We could say we want the cup, but that's a different pack, so that'll be a different day. But yeah, we could definitely talk about some of the players in these packs. I'm already a little bit down after you're like, oh, well, one of our teams is going to playoffs. It's like, yeah, I know. I know my team's not going to the playoffs. You don't have to twist the knife, but
yeah, I mean, I don't have to, but I do. And on Total Hockey Now, which the latest episode is up, we bust Anthony's chops about the Devils not getting Hellebuck. Like we were talking about the Vezina, and Chris goes like, "Man, Hellebuck would have looked great in Devils red and black." Blah, blah, blah. So we twist the knife there a little bit too. He's a Canadiens fan though, so let's see if we get any of his. Let's see if we get any Canadians in this pack, or Devils, or Rangers for that matter. Yeah, love that ripping sound. All right. So Edmonton Oilers here with the reverse retro, whatever you want to call it. Cody Ceci, big part of that blue line there.
Yeah, I don't think he's a very good player, but I like those jerseys though. So
they are cool. They are cool. Now coming up, speaking, he's a retired, but I guess I won't call him a Rangers legend, but was vital to those teams that were consistently in the playoffs. Derek Stepan, pictured here as a Hurricane.
Yeah, he wound up having a long career. Obviously, he was a big part of those Rangers teams in the early 2010s and whatnot. But then he just kind of bounced around as your classic journeyman fourth line and grind energy type of guy. One of those guys so that the 200 hockey men head coaches just love because they play the game the right way. They don't make mistakes. They'll forecheck. They're willing to scrap it up. They'll do all the dirty work that the fancy little star boys don't want to do.
And that's the thing, guys like that, you can almost track their careers because sometimes they'll start in the top six and then as their career goes on, okay, they're second line, third line, fourth line, but they'll hang around for the fourth line and still be very productive, effective players. So we got to
and you need those guys on your team, especially if you want to be a championship team, yeah, you need the star talent at the top of your lineup, but you also need those guys who, I keep saying this every few weeks when we do hockey, you need assholes on your team.
And
I say that in the most endearing way possible. You need guys who are going to be pieces of shit on your team, and not necessarily that Derek Stepan's necessarily
he's
that
a
guy,
different
but
mold. But he does the stuff that doesn't show up on the immediate part of the score sheet. He's further down the line. And the thing is, it's not just about scoring more than the other team in the playoffs. You need to have lines of guys that could go out there and shut down the other team's top line, and that's exactly what Derek Stepan was for a while.
Exactly. You need guys who will forecheck, who will put in the work in all three zones.
So now we got a team that's also definitely not going to the playoffs. San Jose Sharks. Luke Kunin has actually been playing a top six role for them this year, just to give you an idea of what the shape of that team. Do love those Sharks jerseys though; those are cool, the white ones.
Pretty rough. Yeah, he got traded at the deadline, didn't he? I don't even remember. I remember they were talking about Luke Kunin going for a first round pick at one night. I was like, what are we doing here?
No. This is not a very good pack here. I'm not very happy with this pack. Oh, so we got an Oscar Olesen first round draft pick, the 2021 first round pick for the Avalanche, 28th overall there. You talked about picture day earlier. That sure does look like picture day.
Oh, they definitely took that picture at the draft.
Yes. So we got Kelly Yarncroc here, Toronto Maple Leafs. They're going to be interesting to watch in the playoffs. Speaking of guys that are further down the lineup and need to do things, the things that don't show up on the score sheet.
Yeah, but I feel like he's kind of like one of those guys. He fits that mold.
Yeah, exactly. David Perron from the Red Wings, who are probably the streakiest team in the league. Right now, they can win 6 in a row, lose 6 in a row, but yet they still may end up with a wild card spot. We got Sam Gagne here wearing a 1,000 game jersey, I guess for somebody else, or maybe him. I don't know if he played in 1,000, but clearly on the sleeve there.
He's been around forever, so yeah, I would guess that was probably like from warm-ups or something. Like they probably had him wear like 1,000 as his number for the warm-ups, would be my guess.
Okay, and then finally in this pack, I've got David Krejci from the Boston Bruins. Good second line center when he was there. Not this year, but
yeah, really good player for a long time, and then he retired. Then he came back for a year, and now he's retired. So,
well, I mean, what do you think about the Bruins this year in that Atlantic Division as a whole? I mean, I know Florida is probably the team that emerged, but what about Boston and Toronto?
I don't love the Bruins center depth. I feel like when Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle are your top two centers, you're probably drawn pretty thin in terms of going deep in the playoffs. Toronto, I mean, it's going to be the same thing as every year. It's, they're going to lose at some point. The star players are going to get blamed there. And like their core is all locked in forever now. Like the only guy who's really not locked in is at this point is Tavares, because I think next year is probably going to be the last year of that deal. So I could see them moving on from him just because he's, a bit older now. He's like 34, 35. But I mean, they extended Nylander. He's not going anywhere. They extended Matthews. He's not going anywhere. Marner still has a few years left on that deal, paying him $11 million. Morgan Riley is signed forever. So that's a team that they just need the salary cap to go up so they can kind of get the pieces around those guys, because they're taking up half the cap between the 5 of them.
Well, we will see. I every year it's will they get out of the first round and they got out of the second round. I mean, the East is more wide open.
And then they finally got out of the first round last year,
and they lost to Florida.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any shame in losing to Florida. I think Florida is that team that everyone wishes their team would play like. They have the high end skill, but they also have the guys who will do the dirty work. And Bobrovsky's been pretty good for the better part of a year now. So, where the contract doesn't look nearly as bad. So all you need is Bobrovsky to be like a 9-15, 9-20-ish goalie. And like that'll play. Like that's certainly plenty good enough there. So, and they just recently extended Gustav Forsling, who's been amazing since they also find all these guys off the scrap heap. They do a really good job where they get him off of waivers. They get like Carter Verhaeghe from the Lightning for nothing. They get what's his face, Brandon Montour, who was just kind of like a journeyman defenseman. Now he's one of the top offensive defensemen in the league. So, and then obviously they have the star players on top of that. So. I'm very envious of the Florida Panthers and everything about them, their style of play and all that.
All right, one more pack to breeze through here before we get to our starting lineup figure 5 and say farewell on another episode of RipNRiff here on the Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube pages and network. Guy that's going to be out for a few weeks here, but they're going to get him back in time for the playoffs. Ryan Lindgren, which if he was going to be out for the playoffs, man, I'm a little worried. Because I mean, yeah, and I know they got Chad Ruedel, and he's like a poor man's version of Lindgren. But I mean, he does for the playoffs. You need that guy out there 20 plus minutes, 25 minutes a night if you can get him there.
He plays a lot of tough minutes. So yeah, that's one where you hope it's on the shorter side of it, because you don't really want to be going through these playoff series without a guy like that who's going to soak up a ton of minutes.
And, like we said, Jacob Trouba's coming back here soon, so that'll help too. So they just got to weather the storm here the next couple of days. Although, tough loss against Winnipeg last night. They played well. They got a game coming up here against the Bruins. So they got some yardstick games here down the stretch. So we'll see how the Rangers measure up, because that's one of the things about them is sometimes they don't play well against some of the top teams. So here's a chance to prove it against Boston. We got Kirby Dach from the rebuilding Montreal Canadiens. I got him from the Blackhawks last year. He's going to be a part of that team when they get good again. Shout out Mr. Christopher Murray at Fuzzy Chris 91.
Bummer for him. He's basically been out. He basically just lost a whole year. Like I was looking at the Canadians cap friendly the other day, and I was like, what's Kirby Doc been up to? I didn't realize that he's only played 2 games this year. He's been out. He's been injured the entire time. So kind of a rough break there for him.
Yeah, I mean, those things happen, but this wasn't going to be a big season for Montreal anyway. So let's tread off the tires for the following seasons. We got Martin Jones pictured here at the Seattle Kraken, but with the Toronto Maple Leafs now. Talked about the Maple Leafs earlier. Kraken kind of not a play. They won't be a playoff team. They're not mathematically out yet, but it's not looking like they're going to get there. But it looks like they can maybe get back in the mix next year. Let's see here. One of your least favorite teams in the NHL who are probably going to go to the playoffs as long as Sean Couturier doesn't keep getting a healthy scratch. Travis Sanheim.
Yeah, I don't love that Travis Sanheim contract. I actually don't dislike the Flyers as much as you would think, with them being a quote unquote rival. Like I generally speaking, I dislike the Rangers a lot more. The Flyers are really more of like I don't want to say like an annoying little brother or whatnot, but I feel like every time the Devils and the Flyers have ever met in like any game of consequence, the Devils have won. So I don't really feel that way towards the Flyers.
Yeah, for me as a Ranger fan, it's like I know I'm supposed to like hate the Islanders, but like they've never been good at the same time. Like the only time they ever met in the playoffs was the year the Rangers won the cup. To me, the Devils are the team that I'm like they're my number one dislike of hockey teams. And then, I know Pittsburgh is kind of like winding down their competitive window here, but it was probably that they were probably number 2 for a while because they were just always up there.
And like the Rangers and the Devils, they're a rivalry where the Devils haven't been good for a while outside of like a year or two there, but like for the most part historically, that's been back and forth. Like both of those teams have had those big moments against each other. The Rangers in '94, the Devils. Last year, 2012. So
the Devils and Brodeur owned the Rangers from basically '97 till about 07. Like
there was that long streak
where like the Rangers just could not beat them.
Yeah. So I feel like that rivalry is a little more balanced as opposed to, like Devils Flyers. I feel like historically it's been a little bit one-sided.
Yeah.
Now maybe Flyer fans will disagree or they'll just be like, whatever, you're the Devils. Who cares? So, and fair enough. So,
all right, we're going to close here with we got 3 All-Star cards and an Upper Deck Young Canvas card, although it's not anybody special for the Young Deck Young Gun Canvas. But we got Nazem Kadri here, pictured as an All-Star back from his Avalanche days.
Yeah, one of those players that I would probably describe as like a POS type of player, and I mean that in the most endearing way possible.
It's a compliment here.
Style of play, yeah.
It's something you want to put on your resume, according to RipNRiff. We've got one of the guys that was moved at the trade deadline, and man, does this make the Hurricanes deep and scary. Yevgeny Kuznetsov. I mean, they got him for a pretty good deal, and it gives them that second line center they need. I know that, it's to me that's going to be the one that's going to make the difference or not. I know they got Gensel, and that was the big one, but center depth matters in the playoffs.
It certainly does. I mean, Gensel, you just have to hope his head's on straight. With all the issues he's had off the ice and everything, you want him. You hope for his sake that like he can just keep it all together.
Now, if Jonathan Huberdeau happens to be watching, you might want to turn away because this is a reminiscent of better days for you in your career. Pictured here as an All-Star for the Florida Panthers. Don't think you'll be going back to the All-Star game anytime soon.
Well, they're paying him a lot of money to play in Calgary. So, I mean, look, I never fault anyone for securing the bag. And that was a time when the Calgary Flames were very desperate for somebody to take their money. After Johnny Gaudreau left and Matthew Tkachuk wanted out, he was right place, right time. And, when they made the trade with Tkachuk and he secured the bag. So I'm not going to hate on Jonathan Huberdeau there.
I'm not hating on him for securing the bag. I'm hating for him for maybe the Flames getting a little more bang for their buck. And I think
sure, like he's not
a lot of that's a little bit of a waste. Now we close the pack here. Nick Sisek from the San Jose Sharks. He played about maybe about 15, 16 games for them this year. Developmental prospect, but that is an Upper Deck Canvas Young Gun. So that's a good one to get if it was a better player, but nonetheless, that'll still have to go in the penny sleeve because you never know. Maybe his mother wants to buy it.
You also never know. The Sharks, I mean, they're a bad team. You know, bad teams are going to see what they have in guys. So he might get another opportunity at some point.
All right, so there we go. We have gone through. We talked. We did a little college basketball in honor of March Madness. We talked plenty of baseball, spring training, right in the thick of it, and just finished up some hockey there. So good stuff here. Not great hockey packs, but we did love those baseball packs there. And that Evan Mobley card was pretty cool out of the 2021 Chronicles there. But it is time for the starting lineup figure 5, where Jared has to figure out what starting lineup I'm hoping to open today. He gets 5 questions. I give him the sport. Then we'll see if it happens. So today's sport, we open with baseball. We're going to close with baseball.
Is it Bernie Williams? No, I'm just kidding.
I have all of his, and they're all opened. So there you go.
All right. Is this player a Hall of Famer?
No. Let me double check that, but I don't think so.
All right. So that's an interesting one right off the bat. Is this player a World Series champion?
He is indeed a World Series champion. Not a Hall of Famer.
Not a Hall of Famer. Did this player play for the New York Yankees at any point in his career?
He sure did. 2 to go.
2 to go. Sure. The way you say it sure did implies that this is a New York Yankees starting lineup. So let me think about this for a second. Is this player an infielder primarily?
Yes. Last question, or you have to guess.
I have a general lean of where I'm going with this. So,
question leads you there.
Did this player ever play for the St. Louis Cardinals?
He did not play for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Ah, crap. Crap. That eliminates the guy I was going to guess. Is it Scott Brocious?
Nope.
It is not Scott Brocious. Oh, wow. Okay.
Good time for Jingle Bell to freeze on me, by the way.
I was wondering what you were playing there. No, because my initial guess was going to be Tino Martinez.
Would have been a good guess. I mean, because he fits that mold. Not a Hall of Famer, was a part of that team. So I'm not going to get to unbox this guy today, unfortunately, very sadly. But here he is, Jorge Posada.
Ooh, yeah, right church, wrong pew. I was on the right track, but I didn't get the right guy. Yeah, Posada's. It's always going to bother me that he got 5% off the ballot for the Hall of Fame.
I mean, he was a stalwart catcher for what? So he came up. I'm not going to count 95 or 96. So he spent 60 games in the majors in 97, and then was full time after that. 4-time World
big
Series
part
champion.
of 4 World Championship teams.
5-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger.
Yeah, he finished top 3 for MVP once. Probably one of the great offensive catchers of his era. I would probably put him in like a notch below like Mike Piazza and Ivan Rodriguez, but he's right there on that next tier of guys.
Now this would have been a starting lineup too, which was a briefly lived like reboot of the series where like the figures were a little bit bigger, a little bit more detailed. And I have a spot cleared for this on my display, but I guess it's going to stay back. I'm going to have to dust that for a little bit longer, I guess.
I'm just bummed that I didn't get it. I'm usually pretty good at getting these, and I'm bummed that I didn't get this one. Yeah,
that was your first miss?
Yeah, first miss. This was my first 0 for 4 of the year. So, we'll try to do better next week.
So Jorge Posada will not be joining the starting lineup studio audience next week. Now, last week Jared did guess Reggie White correctly, so he got unboxed from the 94 edition. We got Mike Modano, who got his statue put up this week outside of the arena in Dallas, 1999 edition. Sean Kemp, 1994, and Ricky Henderson, 1992. Figured go in green and yellow. You already had Reggie White there. But so let's go green and yellow and continue the theme. And there he is, Mike Modano, getting the statue this week. You know, when you talk about like influential American-born hockey players, I mean, for our generation, Mike Modano was like the guy. Him and Rowan.
Yeah, he's probably the greatest American player of that era.
I mean, and well deserved. I mean, you know, he helped put hockey in the Lone Star State. So I mean, he's the guy. There we go. So we'll see who gets to go in the starting lineup studio audience next week. It definitely won't be Jorge Posada, just like the Devils won't be going to the playoffs. So there you go.
Another L by me.
Yeah. Elbow right there. Now, again, don't forget, please give us a rate, review, subscribe, like us on all the platforms you see scrolling there below. And also, don't forget, we've got other things going on here. So, the Devils, maybe they're not going to the playoffs, but they're going to be big players in the offseason, free agency, draft, all that good stuff. Our friend over there, Jared, he has some of his content at allaboutthejersey.com. And also, if you're into poker, Jared's got you covered with hand breakdowns and all that good stuff. They're really entertaining videos to watch, and I enjoy them. And I'm not even a poker player, but
if you want to learn how not to play these hands, you should watch my content because I'm really bad at the game. But if you're looking to get really good at the game, don't watch my content. So there you go.
There you go. If you want mediocre, uninspiring content about poker, that is your best spot right there at Jared.
Brilliantly produced.
It's top notch, well produced, as somebody used to say. And for other hockey coverage, Total Hockey Now at Total Hockey Now with myself, Ant Rivera 86 and Fuzzy Chris 91. We got our latest episode was out yesterday live, and you'll see clips throughout the week there. But that'll do it for this edition of RipNRiff. Now, this is normally where I would have a back time bed, walking me out here, but that's not going to happen because Jingle Palette froze. But nonetheless, we'll be back at you next Wednesday, same time, same place, for Mr. Jared Moore on Twitter. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. We will see you next Wednesday with, I think we're going to do an all baseball edition to help kick off the season here on RipNRiff.
Let's go.